Hello and welcome. Now, in celebration of the Inquisitor rulebook, the lore part being available on Warhammer Vault, I wanted to look at the Warhammer 40k faction that gets the least love on the tabletop, and this is the Inquisition. Yes, you can do an assassinate execution force, and they have had a Codex Imperial Agents in 7th. It did not really cover the sheer versatility of this faction. A faction that can include the majority of Imperium's forces, characters that can usurp the command of pretty much everyone, even chapter masters. It got me thinking, how would you build such an army? I make no secret for my love of super armies. With my current project being just north of 10,000 points now, Return to Armageddon Force. Now this includes Deathwatch, Sisters of Battle, Imperial Guard, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Black Templars. And that's not all of them either. Now back to the question at hand, how would you make an Inquisition force? Now the easiest way is adding an Inquisitor to your Sisters of Battle, Grey Knight or Deathwatch force. You have Order Hereticus, Malleus and Order Xenos respectively. Well, that's easy peasy, but then you can add an Inquisitor to any Imperium force and say the same. Now I want a proper Inquisition army. Something that when played, people will see it for what it is. And the first issue I noticed is that this is not going to be a battle-forged army, and it is going to be used for narrative games. The unit choices, HQ for a start, can be pretty much any from the Imperium, with a few additions to give it an Inquisitor look. I have currently ready a video on how to kit bash your own Inquisitor. Of course, this is if it's needed. Now, one of my Inquisitors for my army is Ripper Jackson. She's a Catachan Sergeant and she looks fantastic. And I think she needed a promotion to show how good she looks. Your Warlord will of course dictate what you can include in his army. Now, I say that, but it's your army and it's basically one that you can make on your own. So if you have an Inquisitor that is Order Xenos, it means you can use Deathwatch, but not necessarily Grey Knights or Sisters of Battle. This mostly is narrative consistency, and should not stop you using what you want. I also believe that if you're going to do named characters, they should only be Inquisitors. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of Imperium named characters and they look fantastic, but for this force being an Inquisition force, I think that's where it should stay. The other units should be anything that has the Imperium keyword, with a few exceptions. Custodes are only meant to answer to the Emperor. Dark Angels and Space Wolves have a strong dislike of the Inquisition. Now these would be difficult to add and remain lore friendly. Black Templars on the other hand love the Inquisition, so they would be a great choice for some units. And if we go with a House Reach book, you could easily justify a Black Templar, Sisters of Battle and Imperial Guard army. An example would be Lord Kazmazov as your HQ, Primaris Black Templar Crusade squads, and Tempestus Silence for your troops. Fast attacks could be Space Marine Bikes, Outriders, and Seraphim and Sentinels. Elites, the 4 Assassins, Repentia and Terminators. And finally, heavy support. To me, I would just use Imperial Guard tanks. Yes, there's plenty of other tanks for Sisters of Battle and, of course, the Black Templars, but Imperial Guard tanks actually have numbers and decent weapons too. It's a nice mix of all three armies, and you also have a book to support the choices. I mean, it has a narrative which you can follow. Inquisitors can also be used in any Imperium transport too, so you got a choice of Chimeras, Rhinos, and Landspeeder Storms. That's the Scout one, by the way, not the Primaris one. Now, flyers are my favourite part of any 40k army. They just look really cool. And that's literally it. It's the pure cool factor. Now for this, I would also pick a one with a transport capacity, just to have an Inquisitor inside it and have him deep strike onto the field. The Corvus Darkstar is a great looking mini and is covered in Inquisition iconography, so it is fitting. Now if it wasn't for the fact it's Deathwatch, so part of a different Ordos, now I wouldn't say let this stop you because it is a great looking mini. If If we're going to a force so far, we still have a number of choices. Valkyries are the best looking and have a transport capacity too. Yeah, I do think the Imperial Guard Flyer is literally the best one we can get, looks wise. Kazamazov, of course, can't embark in Valkyrie. It's still just an amazing looking mini. Storm Raven and other Space Marine flyers look good. Now, of course, we could always use a Wild Guard here and have the Adeptus Mechanicus enter with our Archaeoraptor variants. And, of course, flyers are for every 1,000 points. Though, because it's a narrative as well, you're not necessarily stuck down to a detachment either. You could have as many flyers as you want. Having an air wing would look really cool. Now, Lords of War, Knights are an obvious choice. Personally, I like Warglaives and with their strong metal weapons, chainswords, and that they are pretty fast. Baneblade variants are pretty cool too. The Lord of War is the one that you think looks the best and is going to be your centerpiece for your army. For narrative reasons of the force we're talking about, I'm going to say Baneblade. Of course, we have Yarrick, who was on Armageddon too, and his massive black Baneblade. Now it fits also with the Imperial Guard tanks in their heavy support role. And you could use the Stormlord if you wish to have it as a transport. So there you have it, an Inquisition army but has consistency with a solid narrative and well-loved novel as a source. Of course, the units can be changed to what you like, and there is a number of books that can be used for inspiration for your Inquisition force. Imperial Armor, Siege of Thrax books, for Kriegs, Red Scorpions, and Grey Knights. And of course, there is the Dominus Crusade if you want to do Space Marines, Adeptus Custodes, and Sisters of Silence. There's also the numerous books about Inquisitors by Dan Abnett, namely the two longest series are Eisenhorst and Ravener. Now, this is what I think, and this is why I like doing armies like this. There's plenty of lore and plenty of novels I like to play out on the battlefield myself and not be restricted to just one codex. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is actually part 1 of a 2-part series. The next one is actually how to kit bash your own Inquisitor. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I hope you enjoy your hobby. If you wish to support this channel, you've got the Red and Games link, as well as Forbidden Planet, comics and t-shirts, and Patreon as well. Honestly, as always, I'd rather you go and click on one of the ones where you can get something nice for yourself. And that's it, because I'd rather you do that than just give me money. Get yourself something nice. It still supports the channel, and you got something out of it, haven't you? As always, I hope you enjoyed the hobby, and I hope you have a good time, and I'll see you again soon. I'm going to run this video out to, never mind, it's gone past 8 minutes now, and I'll see you all soon.